press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
In the last class, we already studying about the history lesson, that is coming of the British, isn't it? We already know how the British and Europeans came to India and who discovered the new sea route to India and how the British slowly start to establish their territory in India, isn't it? I already told the British start the wars against the rulers here. They already start many more battles. Among them, some of the two battles were the important. I already told about this. Those were the Battle of Plassey. One is Battle of the other one is the Battle of Panipat. Sorry, the Battle of Buxar. The second one is Battle of Buxar, isn't it? I already explained the Battle of Plassey and the Battle of Buxar, isn't it? The Battle of Plassey was fought between the Sirajuddaulah, the Nawab of Bengal, and also with the British. British means the British army led by the Robert Clive here, isn't it? In this battle, Sirajuddaulah was defeated and the British got victory. Okay, this battle was held in 1757. This battle was held in 1557, isn't it? I already explained. Sorry, 1757. Okay. In the same way, the another battle was also held between the British and the native rulers. Those were, that is known as the Battle of Buxar. Okay, this Battle of Buxar was fought between the Mughal Emperor Shah Alam against the British. This battle was also fought between the British and Shah Alam. Okay, Shah Alam was the emperor, Mughal emperor. They fought this battle at the place called Buxar. For that purpose, this is known as the Battle of Buxar. This Buxar battle was held in 1765. This battle was held in 1765, the place called Buxar. For that purpose, this battle was known as the Battle of Buxar. Okay, in this battle also, the British got victory. The British got victory. As a result, the Bengal come under the control of the British. Okay, in this way, British tried slowly. They captured many places in India. Later, they established their colonial rule in India. Okay. Then they introduced many policies here. Then they introduced many policies to capture many more places of India. Let us learn about the policies which are introduced by the British. Those are, one is Subsidiary Alliance and another one is Subsidiary Alliance. Subsidiary Alliance. The another one is Doctrine of Lapse. Subsidiary Alliance. Subsidiary Alliance. The another one was Doctrine of Lapse. These were the policies introduced by the British. So, why did they introduce these policies? To capture many more places of the India. Okay, let us learn what is Subsidiary Alliance. and who introduced the Subsidiary Alliance. Okay. Subsidiary Alliance was introduced by Lord Wellesley. Lord Richard Wellesley introduced the Subsidiary Alliance. The Subsidiary Alliance was introduced by Lord Richard Wellesley. Lord Richard Wellesley. Lord Richard Wellesley introduced the Subsidiary Alliance. Okay, and that time, what do you mean by Subsidiary Alliance? Lord Richard Wellesley was the Governor General of India. He was the Governor General of India. He introduced the Subsidiary Alliance, the policy called Subsidiary Alliance. Okay, when he introduced this policy, when he was working as the Governor General in India from 1798 to 1805. During this period, he introduced this policy. Now, tell me, what is Subsidiary Alliance? What do you mean by Subsidiary Alliance? Let us learn about that, okay? Subsidiary Alliance means the native ruler, take down, the native ruler, I will write, the native ruler who entered this alliance, the native ruler who entered this alliance the native ruler who entered this alliance had to keep the British army, had to keep the British army, had to keep the British army, keep the British army in his territory, in his territory, in his territory. This was the very important point. The native rulers who entered this alliance had to keep the British army in his territory. In return, the ruler had to pay, the ruler had to pay, the ruler had to pay a subsidy, for the maintenance of maintenance of this force, or transfer a portion, transfer a portion of his kingdom, portion of his kingdom. Portion of his kingdom. Portion of his kingdom to the British. To whom? To the British. To the British. This system is known as Subsidiary Alliance. Known as Subsidiary Alliance. Okay. What is Subsidiary Alliance? The Subsidiary Alliance was one of the policy introduced by the British, especially the Lord Richard Wellesley. The Lord Richard Wellesley introduced this system at first time in India. Okay, what is Subsidiary Alliance? Subsidiary Alliance means the native ruler who entered this alliance had to keep the British army in his territory. Means the native ruler who wants the help of the British, who entered this treaty or alliance, they should keep the British army in his territory. Means they gave up his native army. Okay. He gave up his native army. He should maintain the British army only in his territory. Okay. In return, the British kept their army in that native ruler's kingdom. No? For that purpose, they should pay the subsidy. They should pay the subsidy to maintenance of those force. Those force means the British force which were put in the kingdom of the native ruler. Okay, they should pay the subsidy for the maintenance of those force, or they can transfer some part of his territory to the British kingdom, British to maintain this army. Okay, this system was known as Subsidiary Alliance. Okay. So, in this way, this is the one of the policy introduced by the British. Later, they introduced another policy that is known as Doctrine of Lapse. Doctrine of Lapse. The another policy introduced by the British, that is known as Doctrine of Lapse. What do you mean by Doctrine of Lapse? Doctrine of Lapse. Doctrine of Lapse means the Doctrine of Lapse. This is also the another policy introduced by the British. Okay, Doctrine of Lapse was introduced by the Governor General called Lord Dalhousie. Lord Dalhousie. He was the Governor General of that time. He introduced the Doctrine of Lapse. Okay, what do you mean by Doctrine of Lapse? Doctrine of Lapse means if an independent ruler, I will write what is Doctrine of Lapse. Okay, if an independent ruler if an independent ruler died without a son, he could not automatically make, automatically make his adopted son, succeed to the throne. Succeed to the throne. Okay. In all such cases, the kingdom would lapse. The kingdom would lapse to the English. lapse to the English. So this system was known as Doctrine of Lapse. This system is known as Doctrine of Lapse. Doctrine of Lapse. Understood? What is Doctrine of Lapse? I will explain. Okay. The Doctrine of Lapse was another policy introduced by the British. Who introduced this policy called the Doctrine of Lapse? The Doctrine of Lapse was introduced by the Lord Dalhousie. Okay, he was also Governor General on that time. Okay, according to this system, if an independent ruler died, means the independent Indian ruler, if he died without a natural heir, without the natural heir means without the son. Okay, if the daughter he has, she could not become the king or queen here. Okay, and if he died if he independent ruler died without a son, he could not automatically make his adopted son succeed to the throne. Means he could not adopt the other's son as their son. Okay, even though he was adopted the son, this son could not have the chance to become a next ruler of his father. Okay, so in such cases, that kingdom means the native ruler who died without a natural heir, that kingdom was lapsed to the British, means that kingdom come under the control of the British. So this system was known as Doctrine of Lapse. According to this system, according to the system of Subsidiary Alliance and according to the system of Doctrine of Lapse, many more kingdoms come under the control of the British. Okay, in this way the British become more powerful in India. So, and besides these policies, here the many small princely states, states take the help of the company. Besides these policies, some of the princely states who are ruled by the Nawabs and the Maharajas, they took the help of the company to win the war against their neighboring states. As a result, the British took more advantages. The British company took more advantages here, and slowly they captured more and more Indian territories under their control. In this way, the British become more and more powerful in this time. Okay, this situation led to dissatisfaction. This situation dissatisfied the Indians on that time. This situation, the capturing of Indian territories under the control of the British. This situation dissatisfied the Indians. And that time the Indians start the revolt against the British. Okay. Among them, one of the important revolt was started in 1857. Let us learn about that. Okay. The revolt of 1857. The revolt of 1857. The revolt. This revolt was started in 1857. So, this is the name given, the revolt of 1857. Revolt of 1857. This revolt was held in 1857. So, this is called as the revolt of 1857. What was the causes for the revolt? Okay, what were the main causes for the revolt? I already told, many Indians were unhappy with the British rule. The Indians were unhappy with the British rule. Those who are unhappy with the British rule on that time, especially the Indian rulers or kings were unhappy. The second one, many peasants. The peasants were unhappy. The peasants were unhappy, and also the soldiers. The soldiers. Soldiers were unhappy with the rule of British in 1857. Why they were unhappy? Let us learn one by one. Okay. Why the British Indian rulers? Rulers means especially the Indian ruler. Why the Indian ruler were unhappy? Why the Indian ruler? Indian ruler means Indian kings. Indian rulers were unhappy. I already told. The British introduced the policy called Doctrine of Lapse, Subsidiary Alliance, etc. To using these policies, they captured more and more kingdoms or the states of the Indian rulers. Means the Indian rulers, they lost their kingdom. So they become angry with the British. Okay. Next, the peasants. The peasants were also unhappy. Why did the peasants were unhappy on that time? Because on that time, the British forced to the farmers to pay a heavy taxes. British forced to the farmers to pay heavy taxes. When they pay the heavy taxes, the peasants become poor. Not only the British forces the peasants to pay a heavy taxes, and also they forced to the peasants to cultivate indigo. To cultivate indigo for the use of British textiles. Indigo was one of the crop. So it is very difficult to cultivate in India. Even though it is difficult, the British forced to the peasant to cultivate indigo because they want that indigo crops in their textile mills. For that purpose, they forced the peasants to cultivate indigo. These two factors become unhappy. The peasants were also unhappy with the rule of the British. Next, the soldiers were also unhappy. The soldiers means Sepoys. Yes, the Sepoys who are working under the British army. Okay, why they were unhappy and what were the main causes for the revolt of 1857 or which was the immediate cause for the revolt? Let us learn about that. Okay, the main causes for the revolt. Causes for the revolt. The main or immediate causes for the revolt. Immediate causes. Why did the Sepoys were unhappy on that time? Let us learn about that. Okay. This revolt was started in 1857. Why did this revolt was started in 1857? There was a reason. There was a causes. Which was that? That is, in 1857, the British replaced the old rifles. The British replaced the old rifles. Old rifles were replaced by the British. Okay. So, they gave the new rifles to the British army. Okay. In the British army, there were Hindus were also serving there. Hindu soldiers were also there, and also the Muslim soldiers were also working under the British. Hindus and Muslims both were working in the British army. In the British army, Hindus and also the Muslims were serving as the Sepoys in British army. Okay, what happened on that time? In 1857, the British replaced the old rifles. Means they gave new rifles to the army. Means they gave the new rifles to the Hindus and also the Muslims who are serving in their army. Okay, on that time, a news was spread. The cartridges which were used in these rifles were greased with the fat of cows and pigs. Understood? there was a news spread. There was a news spread that the cartridges, the cartridges which were used in the new rifles, the cartridges which were used in the new rifles, they were summered or greased. Summered or greased with the fat of cows and pigs. The fat of cows and pigs. The fat of cows and pigs. Okay. The cartridges which were used in the new rifles, they were summered with the fat of cows and pigs. So, when the Sepoys wants to use these cartridges, they bite them up with their teeth. Okay. When the Sepoys wants to use these cartridges, they bite them up with their mouth or with their teeth. Okay. This situation, the use of these cartridges was against the religious sentiments of the both Hindus and the Muslims. This situation means the use of these cartridges was against the religious settlement of the both Hindus and the Muslims. Why the use of these cartridges was against the religious sentiments of the both Hindus and the Muslims? Do you know that? Means the Hindus, I already told that cartridges which were given to the new rifles, they were summered with the fat of cows and pigs, isn't it? The cow is the god. The Hindus worship the cows as the god. So they refuse to use of these cartridges. Okay. In the same way, the Muslims hates the pigs. The Muslims hates the pigs. So they were also not ready to use these cartridges. So the Indian Sepoys who are serving in British Army, they are not ready to use these new rifles and new cartridges. Okay. When they refused to use of these cartridges, then the British officers forced them. To use these cartridges. But the Indian soldiers were not ready to use these cartridges or new rifles. So even though they are not ready to use, even though they refuse, the British officers, they forced to use of these cartridges. So then they become very angry. The soldiers become very angry. They start a revolt in 1857. So this event was known as the Sepoy Mutiny, and also it was called as the first war of Indian independence. Okay. So this situation, this revolt is called in many names. Among them, the British called this event as the Sepoy Mutiny. Sepoy Mutiny. This event means the event which was held in 1857, it was called as Sepoy Mutiny from the British. The British gave the name this event as Sepoy Mutiny. That Indians were not ready to accept this. This is only the Sepoy Mutiny. They gave the another name, that is the first war of Indian independence. The first war of Indian independence. First war of Indian independence. This was the name given by the Indians. This is the war of Indian independence. This was the name given by the Indians. to the revolt which was held in 1857. Okay, let us learn what happened in this mutiny and who got the victory. Okay, in this way, when the Sepoys refused to use of cartridges or new rifles, so this led to the rise of the revolt in 1857. On that time, they not only refused, they marched to the Delhi. They means the Sepoys. The Sepoys marched to the Delhi and they declared Bahadur Shah II was the real ruler, the real emperor of India. Bahadur Shah II. He was the Mughal ruler. Bahadur Shah II. Bahadur Shah II was the real ruler or rightful ruler of India. So, in this way, they start the rebellion or revolt against the British. So, when the revolt was started, on that time, the Indians, many Indians joined their hands in this mutiny or in this revolt, especially many kings, many rulers were joined their hands in this revolt. Let us learn who joined their hands in this revolt. Okay, especially the Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai. The Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai. The Lakshmi Bai, she was the Rani of Jhansi. She joined her hand in this revolt, and also the Nana Sahib, Tantya Topi, Kanwar Singh were all joined their hands in this rebellion. Who were joined their hands in this rebellion? Especially Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi. Rani Lakshmi Bai. Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi. She was the queen of Jhansi. Lakshmi Bai was the queen of the Jhansi. She joined her hands. Next, the Nana Sahib. Nana Sahib and also Tantya Topi. Tantya Topi and Kanwar Singh. Kanwar Singh. These are some of the rulers. They joined their hands with the revolt. Okay. So, the revolt continued for 2 years. The revolt continued 2 years. There, at that time, the many Sepoys, many brave Sepoys and also the many Indians, they sacrificed their life. Many Indian rulers and many brave soldiers sacrificed their lives in this revolt. Even though they sacrificed their life in this revolt, the Indians did not get succeed. The British got victory and the Indians were defeated by the British. Let us learn what were the main cause for the defeat of Indians in this revolt. Let us learn that. Okay, the causes for the defeat. Causes for the defeat. Causes for the defeat. Causes for the defeat. Why did the British succeed in this revolt? So, the main cause for the regular supply of arms to the British army. The regular supply of the arms to the British army. The Britain, they regularly supplied the arms to the soldiers who fought against the Indians. But the Indians did not have that type of facilities. Okay, the British soldiers, they used the good armies, good equipments and good arms they used in this time. Okay, so the second cause was some Indian rulers supported to the British. some Indian rulers, even though they were Indians, they were not supported to the Indians, they supported to the British. As a result, in this revolt, even though this revolt continued 2 years, later the British got victory and the Indians failure in this revolt. As when they failures, at that time the Rani Jhansi Lakshmi Bai, she was died in this revolt. The Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi, she was died. Lakshmi Bai was died in this revolt. Then Nana Sahib and Bahadur Shah were captured. Nana Sahib and Bahadur Shah were captured, and later he sent him to Burma. Sent him to Burma. Later he died there. Okay, and his two sons, means Bahadur Shah's two sons were also killed in this revolt. In this way, the revolt of 1857 come to an end. Understand? What was the situation that on that time? Jhansi Rani Lakshmi was died in this revolt. Nana Sahib, Bahadur Shah II was captured. The Bahadur Shah was sent to the Burma. Burma means now it is called as Myanmar. He sent to Burma. Later he died there. Okay. Next, his two sons, Bahadur Shah's two sons were also captured and killed. In this way, this revolt become end. Okay, what were the effects of the revolt, or what were the results of the revolt? Effects or results? Let us learn what were the results or effects. Results or effects of the first war of Indian independence. Now, one of the important effects was this revolt was a turning point in the history of India. This revolt was the turning point in the history of the India. Okay. So, what were the results of this revolt? The results or effects of this revolts were the rule of East India Company come to an end. The rule of East India Company come to an end. The rule of the first effects or results were the rule of East India Company. East India Company come to an end. Come to an end. Okay, this was the first result. The second one is the rule of company, means British East India Company come to an end. The next one is British Queen took over the administration. British Queen. British Queen. At that time, Rani Victoria. Victoria was the Queen of British. She took over the administration. British Queen took over the administration. Took over the administration. Okay. British Queen Victoria took over the administration of India. Means at that time she appointed her representative. She means Victoria Rani. The Queen Victoria appointed her representative called Governor General. Later he was designated as Viceroy. Queen Victoria appointed her representative called Governor General. Okay. Later this post, he was designated as Viceroy of India. Okay. The another important results were also held in the revolt of 1857, that is political consciousness. Political consciousness and feelings. Political consciousness and feelings of nationalism. Feelings of nationalism arose. Nationalism arose among the Indians. Arose among the Indians. This was the another important effects which were held by the revolt 1857. Political consciousness and feelings of nationalism arose among the Indians. Means the national feelings start to grow slowly in the minds of the Indians. If we united, they can easily face the British. This was the concept. The concept come in the minds of the British. These were some of the results or effects of the revolt of 1857. Okay. Next we learn about what are the factors which led to the nationalism in India. Let us continue the next bit. Okay. Thank you.